On today's episode, Karen and I don't talk much about coffee, a little bit. We talk about a coffee guild, and we talk about how the spirit of collaboration lifts everyone in business and in life. We also talk about the most exciting thing, which is
the Pineapple Parfait. Gotta get the new renewed Pineapple Parfait.
I know, it's back. I know where I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to go and get a Pineapple Parfait. Stay right through to the end, you'll love it. Hello and welcome to Stories from the Red Couch. I'm Robin Cook and today my guest is Karen Barnett from Montville Coffee. Hi Karen.
Hi Robin.
What did you bring to the table that has informed so much of your life? Tell me about these two things.
I will. When you asked me to bring things, I thought, well, what is it that ties my life together? And I think, luckily, I come from a family that has, woven through it a lot of stories. And my mum took some huge risks in her life to change careers, to raise children at the same time as doing her medical degree, and then very quickly afterwards became a peace activist. And so in my high school years, it was this extraordinary experience of all of these people coming into our home, which was really
exciting,
it was
isn't
really
it?
exciting.
Yeah, stimulating.
Very stimulating, and also really, I think, set me on a path of really thinking about my mother in a different way. She was not somebody who was ever going to stay at home again. That this was I'd better get used to it because that was done. But instead of that, it allowed me as a young woman to see my mother as a very thoughtful, intelligent, effective woman who had work to do in the world and was really going to push herself to make sure that she did what needed to be done and what she really saw her life's
That's incredible, isn't it? Is that
her
like
life's mission was.
This vision and focus on doing good in an unwavering way?
It was unwavering.
Yeah.
It was unwavering.
That's fantastic.
It was a turning point in her life where she, I think, just
So
I brought
tell
two
me,
things.
tell me
I brought
about
two
this,
things. So
because that's so beautiful.
So in the 1980s, she went to one of the United Nations conferences during the Decade for Women.
Yes.
And she represented the YWCA of Canada. And so met women there from all over the world. And the African women brought their handicrafts to sell to the women from Western countries so that they could sell their handicrafts and make some income.
Yes.
And so this was one of the pieces that she brought back. So I've had it, for most of my life, and it's always really spoken to me of that connection between women and also how important it is to us to support each other in our businesses and in supporting us to make a living.
Yeah, and that's real direct action.
Very direct.
Isn't it?
Before microfinancing,
Yes.
it was this opportunity to assist and not aid but trade, which was very new at that time. Yeah.
And you've brought that philosophy into Montville Coffee, haven't you? Because you have you run training sessions for young people to become baristas, and you're sourcing coffee in an ethical way. Tell me how you came to start that business, because you weren't always a business owner, were you?
No. I had a crisis as a teacher. Was 10 years into teaching and attended a retirement morning tea and looked at them and went, I don't ever see myself at retirement morning tea. And had a complete crisis because I was a teacher, right? This is what I'd spent my whole life becoming. And so took some time off, took some leave, took about 3 months, and we were in Canada, came to Richard's parents' farm in Montville. Our kids were very tiny, and we came there for 3 months, and I read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes.
And through reading that and through that exercise of writing your eulogy, realized that nowhere in there did it say You know, she had a 40-year career as a primary school teacher. It just wasn't there. It was not in what I wrote about my life. And that was the point where I went back, quit my job, we sold the house, and we moved here to start a business.
It's a compelling exercise, isn't it?
It's such a compelling exercise.
To spend time meditating on your own death.
And at age 35, it's really an important thing to do, you know, to say, well, now what? Like, what is the meaning of my life? What is the purpose? And how can I live that purpose? Yeah.
So you did that. So you started Montville Coffee.
We started a business, and we started a business with a question. We sold the house, so we had a little bit of money to start our business, and we said, well, how do you build an ethical business? Because there weren't a lot of examples. We had Anita Roddick, Ben & Jerry's. That was about it at that time. And we said, well, what does it look like? What does it look like for us? What does it look like in Montville? What does it look like so we can both raise our kids, because we both really wanted to be involved. And that's how we got started. And then but we always had an exit plan. We always said, if we cannot be ethical, if we cannot make the decision that we want to make, I'll go back to teaching and we'll just quit. Like we just always made that decision that...
It makes it easier, doesn't it?
It so
when you've got that, you can skip out, but it makes you stay.
And every time we said, okay, this is it. There's no more money. There's no more, like, it's over. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? Well, this, you know, we'll drop it all. We'll go bankrupt, whatever. I'll go back to teaching. And every single time, because we did not compromise, something would happen. A door would open. Money would come. The next step became apparent.
And that was the
hard thing.
Yeah, it is hard. And it's hard for people who are starting out businesses now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult when the money isn't there.
Yeah.
How do you have faith that it's going to be there?
I think you have to see them as confirmations, and you have to write them down and not forget them, because it's so stressful and you're so overwhelmed all the time that you have to almost strengthen that muscle and build up a repertoire where you look back and go, okay, well, hang on a second, we've been here before and something happened. And the key thread, you know, when we're talking about this thread that runs through everything, the thread is don't compromise.
Yes.
Do not sell your soul. Do not compromise.
Because the better that you get, the more attractive you are to others who want to see that role modelling or that opportunity, or to, bolster. Because we talked before about that, providing a space where we lift each other up. And you've started, what have you started now?
You have to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
You have to be trustworthy.
Which is being in having that integrity in your work.
Absolutely. And then then there's no dichotomy between my work life and my home life and everything else. It's all integrated, and then you have coherence, and then you can actually start to build a life and have mental health, you know, because you're coherent and you're not trying to do one thing here but cut corners over here.
That's right.
You're asking about what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah, something really hard, which was having the courage to reach out and collaborate with those in my industry. And that was hard. Julie Shelton really helped.
Yes. What a marvel.
She's incredible. I know. I went to Julie and said, Julie, this is really hard. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to reach out. And I said, I think it would be great if the coffee roasters on the coast could get together, but I don't know if they'd like me. I don't know if they'd want to do that. And she said, well, let's have a coffee festival. So I went, okay. So she said, I'll put up a tent. I'll tell them there's a coffee festival. You go call them.
Yeah.
And they came.
Yeah.
And we had
fabulous?
So much fun.
And so, what are you calling it? What does it sound like? So
we have formed an incorporated group.
Okay.
A business association called the Coffee Trail.
So
we have a guild as well, and through the guild we do our professional development and that kind of thing, and then we have a marketing arm where we hold IP and make decisions and applied for the curated plate.
Yes.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. So how hard is it to shift your mindset, your business mindset, from competitiveness to collaboration? How difficult is that?
It's a life's journey. You have to give it time.
Okay.
It does. It takes time, because everything we're taught is to be competitive. And especially we're taught that business has to be competitive. And So to unlearn that and to take risks to try something else, it takes time, but it's like those muscles. They get stronger and stronger, and then, you know, with more and more confirmations and more people who say, yeah, that's a great idea, you take more risks.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess that if you're showing that trust and integrity, it makes others feel that they can join in and relax and participate in that too. How many people are in the guild?
It's growing. Yeah, it's growing. We've got 6 right now, and hopefully another couple are joining.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That's really good. So Sunshine Coast could be the place for coffee in Australia,
destination.
couldn't it?
Well, we actually thought this is beyond coffee culture, because we're the holiday destination of the world, right?
Yes.
So we just thought, what if we were the coffee destination of Australia, of the world? And to do that, you have to collaborate, because then we build something in the whole region that we all have a part to play.
That's
and
right,
we're
because
also
you're lifting
different.
everyone,
we
aren't
lift
you?
everyone.
Yes.
And we just get such a kick out of each other, because we're also completely different. But we love coffee, we love community, we love business. So it's really fun.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And I know that something else particularly exciting has happened to the Sunshine Coast, and that is the Big Pineapple Parfait.
The Big Pineapple Parfait, it's back.
People have been
so
asking
lucky.
about
I
it. So tell me about it, because it doesn't sound anything like the parfait that I remember as a child.
Well, we can thank Fan for that, right? Like,
Yes.
we can thank all this collaboration and provenance and just focus on food experiences. So Fan is a big part of the Big Pineapple renewal, and there are different like, what does the Big Pineapple look like now? What does it look like in 2019? And it looks like a whole reinvention of food and provenance and food manufacturing and growing, and so we're involved. So
That's exciting.
So we have started, we've just moved into the little kiosk, started trading. Now there's great coffee out of the Big Pineapple. There's all kinds of meetings starting to be held there. So it's people are starting to realize, oh, thank goodness the Big Pineapple is back. And of course we had to reinvent the Pineapple Parfait. So it's a baked pineapple and coconut cream with macadamia praline and Koyo Nice Dream, and
That sounds fabulous.
Yeah,
You'll have to come down.
You will.
Yeah. Let me just go back, because I've been bumping into you at social enterprise. There's this whole social enterprise network on the Sunshine Coast that's growing now as well. What sort of interest have you got in social enterprise, and what does that look like for you in your life?
Such a good question, because it comes back to this purpose question about how do we have purposeful businesses, how do we make meaning, how do we have coherence in our lives, and how is having an enterprise or being financially successful part of that. And we're really interested in that from the very beginning. We've been interested in like, what does our supply chain look like? How do we make sure that we are successful but everyone in our supply chain is successful? And we've recently, in the last couple of years, become a certified B Corporation. And
what does that mean?
So it's a benefit corporation.
Okay.
So the purpose is to certify businesses in the same way that you would certify organics or certify fair trade. Okay. So it's a third-party certification that says, do you really do what you say you're doing? Fabulous. As far as governance and environment and sustainability and So social enterprise is bigger than that. It's I think B Corp kind of fits into it, but social enterprise is about how do we come together and support each other to have businesses that have meaning, that have a social purpose, and are also financially successful. And I think the Sunshine Coast is the place, for us to learn about that. It's new. We don't know a lot about it. It has, so many different aspects. So how do we make sure that we make it broad enough that it's meaningful, but not so broad that we can't explain to someone what it is?
That's fantastic. And I guess that there's opportunities in there for new people to come in and start little businesses like like your necklace, those micro businesses where you're not taking a great deal of risk and you're slowly building. Do you see that the social enterprise element and others like yourself with your guild and FAN, which has been a fabulous opportunity for people to collaborate, is there enough people now who can offer advice and support and make room for new young businesses to come in, do you think?
Wouldn't it be great if we could figure out a way to set up informal mentoring?
Yes.
You know, like the university's already starting to do it through their international development and through the work that they're doing with women to women. You're doing it, you know, like how do we support people in business who need to learn things like, how do I keep my books, or you know, how do I read a spreadsheet, or what does profit and loss mean? But you know, like all these like this ongoing mentoring in safe ways that people can know that there's a whole number of people you can turn to.
Yes. What do you think it means for someone who does the mentoring? Because we can imagine the benefits to the person being mentored. What sort of benefits do you think comes from being a mentor?
I think there's huge value in sharing what you know, the dissemination of knowledge, and you know, saying that knowledge should be of benefit to all of humanity, and we shouldn't hold it close. If we know something, if we've learned something, it means that someone else has assisted and shared it with us. So how do we just continually, you know, widen that circle and pass it on? I think there's huge benefits. There's huge benefits around community and around just growth and fun. The people you meet with great ideas. Why wouldn't you want to meet more people with good ideas?
I know. There's also that notion, because we do lots of things, that notion of almost having 3 lifetimes, certainly having 3 days in one day. Tell me about some element of your time where you get home at night and you know, your mind's just blown with everything that you've done. What sort of things would fit into a day like that?
Aren't we just so privileged?
I know.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I think what it is it doesn't have to be big dramatic things. It's like having the opportunity to sit and have a really thoughtful conversation with somebody, and then go and do something else, and then be invited into a different space or a meeting, and then work really hard on a project. But
that's really about being present in the moment, isn't it?
It is,
to be able to absorb everything that you're doing and carry it through, and being enriched by that.
Yeah, I think so. And also not trying to compartmentalize our lives, but let them all just run over into each other and spill over, and just expect that really interesting things are going to happen every day. And then get home and go, wow, you could never imagine what happened today, and the people I've met, and the conversations I've had, and the projects I've been able to contribute to. And
I think again that, I mean, lots of areas have these opportunities, but I think with the Sunshine Coast, where traditionally employment has been challenging, to come here and get a job is not the easiest thing to do. It isn't. And I think it compels us to find our own way to generate an income, which gives us an opportunity to be creative.
Absolutely.
Around that.
Absolutely, particularly as women. And I think that's where we help each other, and there's just more and more and more support. And that's something I'm really interested in, is how do we, you know, take what we've learned and help others to be entrepreneurial and to take those risks, and to, you know, learn from the things that we've learned about having hope and, you know, not cutting corners, and that, you know, you can do it. Figuring out how to be entrepreneurial, because it's hard, but it's so interesting.
It is, isn't it? Makes for a rich life.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Is that we're building lives. We're not building businesses.
No, the business is an element of it.
It is an element of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Particularly when you've got kids and neighbours and gardens and pets and family and
as you grow and you've got employees and then
Yes.
they're all part of your life.
Of course, because you have employees, don't you? And they would be part of your life.
Yeah.
What level of responsibility does that feel like when you have employees?
I think, you don't take it lightly.
No, I'm sure.
You don't take it lightly because these are lives who, care about us, are extraordinarily loyal, put in so much of their own creativity, and we have a huge responsibility to them as well.
Yes.
No, we don't take that lightly.
Oh, I'm sure. That's fantastic. All right, Karen, I think that we could revisit some of these, particularly around developing an opportunity to share mentoring with younger people, and I'd love to come back and talk about that specifically another time. Yeah, we will do that. So Karen, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.